folks can, I've already figured out I'm really technically not savvy, and so I apologize for not having all this
I'll
together.
fix you up after this little speech.
Okay,
Right?
this is Don. Donnie. And Donnie is someone who lives down the Sherry Drive. I forget
Yeah,
the actual
Trotwood.
ad-
Out
in
by
Trotwood. In Trotwood.
Trotwood Medicine High School.
His roommate Tori and Kathy and
Mimi and Angie.
okay, see. But you've lived there now, what, going on 10 years maybe?
Just over 10 actually, but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And so Donnie is an example, I guess, of, and Don wants to share a little bit about himself and what he's done here, but we certainly, I know we need to hustle a little bit, so I'll try and make this somewhat quickly. So maybe I could just slide through the slides and, okay, how do I do this?
Hit the enter key.
The what?
Enter.
Enter.
Or page down.
Page down.
There we go.
There we go. One of the things that I want to talk about and who we do is, of course, this is lest we forget. This is a book that Judy, you guys have read Judy, and she had to get that little advertisement in here, that she wrote that. But actually, she's really remarkable. And this is a book that talks about the story of people no longer being forced to live in large congregate places, but being able to really live out in the community, live in the places, and be fully integrated and part of the community. I should talk just real quickly about, and I know you give us a brief update, but we're in a partnership with another organization called Resident Home Association. And that partnership is aptly named. We're Partners for Community Living. Resident Home Association does the exact same thing that we do. And our partnership has enabled us to jointly have someone like Judy, who does our fundraising and development and that kind of stuff, and also a volunteer program. And you'll see that kind of built out through here. And real quickly, what we do are 3 words: home, community, and family. And I think that aptly describes pretty much what we do. We try to build a home and places for people to live and develop it into a family-like atmosphere, and make sure that folks are a part of the community, or at least have the greatest opportunity to be a part of the community as they can. So what did we say? Page down. And there is some some things that show a little bit of that. These are volunteers. And Don, you can't see, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah.
You can look at this, is what we're seeing.
Thank you.
And you see Nancy Wilson here on the right. Nancy's always been a long time advocate and volunteer for us, and she does a lot of stuff for us, and especially our talent show that we have every year. This is more volunteers. We just had some volunteers from Iowa and Philadelphia come over last week, and they were here for 3 days. Did a remarkable amount of work for us, but stuff that we can't seem to do is get outside, do landscaping, and taking care of the homes, because staff are inside taking care of people and doing that kind of service. And so they worked really hard last week in that heat, all 3 days, pulling weeds and trimming bushes and putting down mulch and washing vans and doing a lot of other things. It was great fun. They come every year. And here is a group that we are connected with, the venturing group through the Boy Scouts. But it's for adults, and we have a big group that is part of that, and so they seek activities and do things out in the community. And of course, they're engaged with other people, and it's not just people with developmental disabilities, so it's a pretty good program. Our fish fry activities that we do there, and our venturing group is volunteering at the fish fry activity, so that's really helpful and a part of what we do. The fish fry is our primary fundraiser for the volunteer program that we have every year. Art and Soul, as I said, what we're always trying to do is build opportunities, and we have a lot of folks who may not be very good with their hands or something, but they're really good at sharing and having remarkable talents, and so they're good artists. And so we do a thing in conjunction with 3 other agencies where we sponsor a art show every year, and it's actually juried by people whose profession is to create and sell art. And so they come up, and we have like 250 entries into the program, and then they select like 40 top, and then we have 10 recipients, and I think the main recipient is a $1,000 prize, and it kind of schedules down from there. And then they have the opportunity to sell their art. So it's a good show, and it's a good way to promote that art's being created. Some remarkable things. I wish I could have shown some pieces. Bowl-a-thon. We do a bowl-a-thon every year, a fundraiser, where we, and that's primarily for the wish list. We have a wish list that we call it the wish list, that helps people get out and do things in a community that they can't afford. So many of the people that we help are really limited by their income. There might be only $700-800 that they get every month, and it's hard to live, and they're paying all their rent and utilities and food and all that stuff. So it's very, very difficult. So we try to supplement those activities and things with something that we call the wish list. Here's home. It's Ed, and who else is that in there with him? Might have been Mark, I'm not sure. But and then it's Christy and Glenn. Christy and Glenn actually are a married couple. They're a couple with developmental disabilities, and we assisted them in buying their own home. They got a loan. Glenn and Christy both work out in the community. A lot of the folks that we help, though, don't have the ability to get out and really move about and get into the community like that. We help folks on really the whole continuum, where we're actually assisting people getting up every day and getting dressed and getting their care, total care, and assisting them with their medications, all the way up to folks where we're helping them buy a house and have a life, a meaningful life. Vehicles. We have, I think our agency has somewhere in the neighborhood of 65 vehicles that we own, because we're in people have to get about, and we have to be with the people as they get about. And so that van that we have out in the parking lot right now, I think that was a $45,000 van that we had to purchase, but now we're funded by the state and federal government, so it's really just pass-through money.
And thank you for the van, too.
Yeah, right. And people do take care of them. We run them right up to the very edge.
Yeah, our van's got a chunk of the side fender. I don't know what happened to it, but there's a chunk of fender missing on the side of it.
Oh, okay. We'll need to get that in and get it fixed if we can. That's really Kenny Rogers. And this was Eric, I think. Bill. Bill had this infatuation with Kenny Rogers, and we got him to a show and petitioned to meet with Kenny afterwards, and we made Bill's day on that one, because he actually got to be there with Kenny Rogers. And now that's not really Elvis, but that's somebody else. Danny was a young man with autism. I'm saying he's young. He's since passed away. He was actually on our board for a while. Danny was in an institution in his very young life, and his mother didn't like the way things were happening. She'd go up and meet with him, and this is when, you probably heard about Orient up in Columbus back in the late 60s and early 70s, and how they moved people out of there because it was people really getting subhuman kind of care. And so Danny's mother was one of the folks that enough was enough and really raised her voice and campaigned hard and got things to change. Dan came out and was able to be at home and get services at home, became an Eagle Scout. Now that's not something that's easy to get all the way through. Total, got it all, Eagle Scout. And when Sonny Carter went into space on one of his trips into space, he carried Danny's sash, Eagle Scout sash, with him into space.
Cool.
And so that's a picture of Sonny Carter and Danny. Danny was a fairly remarkable guy. And just other opportunities, volunteers. This is the Dayton Lions. I don't know if they're still around. Not the soccer team. Are they still around?
Mike, was he there? The owner?
He's talking about a soccer team.
Yeah, a semi-professional soccer team here in Dayton. It's called the Dayton Dutch Lions.
He spoke to the Civitian and the President's Club.
Yeah.
A while ago. Yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah.
Bring the Whoppers in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hear about them anymore. They were really famous.
And we also have things we call Friend by Choice, and this is actually a sheriff. He was also the son of our secretary for a while, so we had an inside scoop there. But he became very close friends with Maurice, and they do things together, a lot of things together. Greg will pick Maurice up, and they'll go out for something on Saturday afternoon, or take him to the games, or do things. So it's really cool, I think. And those are just, more of our folks, and showing that we really try to build home and family. This group has been living together for a long time, and they're very close. They're like sisters with each other. And when you live with somebody for 10, 20 years, you become bonded as if you are a sister, a brother. And I don't know who this guy is. Somebody we just can't take a picture of you.
Very handsome looking guy.
Thank you.
But Donnie is also, I should have said when I introduced him, Donnie's one of the leadership now for a group here in Dayton called Voices Matter. And Donnie's a self-advocacy group where there are people with developmental disabilities actually coming together, learning about themselves, and learning how to speak on the behalf of themselves and on the behalf of others.
And I'm still learning too. Every time I attend those meetings, I learn something new. And I burn it into my brain too.
That's it.
Now, how many clients do you currently support?
Our agency is helping somewhere in the neighborhood of 320 some people. But we're in 6 different counties now. We're in Butler County, Preble County, Montgomery County, Greene County, Clark County, and Madison County.
Are they all serviced from different offices? Or?
Well, actually we have practically no other offices in those counties, but we do have residential services or day programs going on in each of those counties.
Right.
We just started providing services July 1 for a program in Butler County called Safe Haven Farm, which is a place where 16 people live in 4 different homes, but it's an intentional farm for people with extreme autism and extreme challenges in terms of the way they perceive the world and how they react to the world because of what their brain and their autism has gotten. So they need to be in a very calming and kind of serene place, and the farm is just working out very, very well for them.
What about working with other organizations like United Rehabilitation Services?
Dennis is, I'm on the board with him with the State Trade Association, and we do a lot of collaborating. We do sharing of staff, sharing of training, and a lot of those kind of things together. And Dennis and I are actually talking about maybe going a little bit deeper in terms of collaborating and going forward. We're all scared to death about what might come from Washington, D.C. and Columbus in terms of ongoing funding. And we're almost 100% funded through Medicaid. So if Medicaid gets cut, we're in dire straits.
Is there anything I can do to help?
Yeah, let me give you Senator Portman's phone number, and you can...
No, I'm serious.